everyone. This is my update for building a fish room. In this video, it is going to cover the period from December 31st up until like a couple of weeks before this is going to be published. It will be us installing the flooring and the trim and putting up some of the shelving. And I wanted to really show us modifying the shelves that we got. Because I decided I did not trust these shelves to hold any amount of weight, and I'm hoping that if you buy shelves like this, it will give you some ideas of how you can beef them up too. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it, and thank you so much for watching. Our big plans for New Year's Eve is going to be putting a floor in. Greg is out picking up the flooring right now. It's just a sheet vinyl, and we've cleared all the tools and everything that were in this corner of the room out and moved some things to the center of the room. I have added some plants to this room. There's one. I think this is called a pilea. I'm not sure. If you know what this plant is called, let me know. I also added this fern that, while I kept it watered, is very, very sad. So I think that's going to go soon. And then we have this little medicine cabinet on the wall. And this is where I'm going to be keeping different chemicals and medications. And it does have a mirror. We just took that out from the front and flipped it around so that from the outside it doesn't look like a medicine cabinet, it just looks like a cabinet. We're also going to have to move this floor jack. Okay, so I know it's called a pole jack. A floor jack is like an automotive thing. But I think it should be called a floor jack because it jacks up the floor. Anyway, this is underneath two 20-gallon tanks that I have upstairs. I'm not 100% sure we need it, but it's just for insurance and peace of mind underneath those tanks. And so we're going to have to move that and just hope nothing bad happens. And then I added this piece of wall art too. It's just sofa art from like at home, but it kind of reminds me of like a fall scene over a lake with trees. So I like it. Here is the giant roll of vinyl flooring that we have just brought into the room. I don't think it's going to be very easy for me to film us actually installing it, because to have like the tripod set up on the floor and then move it, and then we might bump it, and then my phone would become many pieces of phone. So I think I'm just going to show it once it's installed. But it's like a charcoal fake marble tile that will match countertop. It's a little bit lighter, and you can see I've been using this room because there is junk everywhere. But the idea is to have it sort of match the countertop as much as possible. This was the closest flooring I could find. We went to a bunch of different home improvement stores, and it's just gonna have to do. So, but it's nice, like thick quality. And it's really easy to install with like a double-sided tape. And then we'll have to decide what we want to use for like a edging or a toe kick around the walls. floor is almost done. Greg put the trim in the closet last night and did a really nice job with the corners, if that will focus. So we've got to put in more trim around the floors. So what are you doing now?
So now it's time to put in our baseboard trim, and
Yes.
I'm using my air nailer. And this thing's super old, and at one time it may have had a rubber guard on the front, I'm not sure, but if I use it as is, this little metal part mars the wood around the nail when it goes in. So I've just taken a little piece of inner tube and cut it off and taped it to the top, and when one part gets worn out I can just move it, and I actually put that between the nailer and the wood to keep it from scarring up the wood, and it seems to work out pretty well.
Okay. Got two of these things. They're supposed to be 1,000 pounds per shelf. Basically, these are going to go in the side-by-side position, so instead of tall, it'll be across, and it'll be 12 feet worth, which is the length of the long wall here. And while Greg is putting up more trim, I'm going to see if I can figure out how to put this together. I am having serious doubts that this thing is going to hold 1,000 pounds per shelf, or even close to it. You notice when he steps on it, this whole sidebar bows out like crazy. I don't think this holds 1,000 pounds a shelf. Now, luckily, I don't need it to hold 1,000 pounds a shelf, but I need it to hold more than like 170. And we are marking for a 2x4 that is going to go across the bottom of these shelves for support, which is kind of funny because we didn't want to make a rack out of 2x4s. We were like, yeah, it's going to be a lot of work and time, and now we're getting out the 2x4s. And this is a metal center punch. That's what it's called?
Yep, automatic center punch.
Automatic center punch.
Yeah, because it's got a little spring in it. You do this.
Okay. We'll do the same thing with the back bracket. So we're using a step drill now on the center punch divot over a dustpan to collect the metal shavings.
Let's see if that goes. Yeah, that just barely goes. So I think that's the right one. That'll go through.
These are the screws we're using.
Here we go. Now I'll trim for the back.
Now we've got a 2x4 cut that is the right length, and they fit just perfectly between this little lip and here. So we're going to screw the one in for the back first, and then put that in place across there, and then screw the front on. And we got these super cute little things here that are like snaps that will go over the head of the screw. So it'll just look like those there. Can I close the thing?
Sure.
Oh, it's cute. Yeah.
There.
Yep.
And now the brace is in.
So the next step then is putting some plywood on top of this. And the reason we have to do that is because these wire shelves, in some areas there is this part that goes underneath these, and then in some areas, probably for reinforcement, there is another one on top. And all my tanks, well, most of my tanks are glass, and this is going to stick up higher here and not as high here. So since glass tanks need to be supported on their edges, we're doing plywood that's going to flatten that out. Just like we did here, except here we did, what was this, a 1/4 inch?
I think so.
On the top, I think we're going to do at least a 1/2 inch. So we have to go get that, cut notches in it for here, and it'll go across here. And then we're going to put this rubber down on top of that. I've put in these sets of a bolt with washer spacers here. These are 5/16 bolts, and the threads fit down right in these, like, perfectly. And so there is 2 in each, the front and the back section, to hold the sections of shelving together. Here we've got our plywood cut for the top. We did end up going with 3/4 plywood, and we are kind of overlapping the seams so that they're not on where the seams for the shelf are, to hopefully make that stronger. Have notched out for these things, and then we'll be covering it with this rubber, and then tied the edge. That's just going to be black electrical tape. This is a 2x4 installed underneath. You can see there's another one. So I hope you've enjoyed that little update that went through maybe mid-March or so. And the next part is us going to be moving some tanks down here, which I think is kind of scary, but really exciting at the same time. So let me know if you want any channel stickers. I have lots of them to give away. And I'll put my email address in the description, so you can just write me if you want a few of those. So thanks again, and I hope everyone's having a really good day. Bye. So that sound was one of these shelf brackets just completely deciding that it did not want to be there anymore, which I really have no idea how that happened, because these are like really solidly in there. Anyway, flooring and the trim, and